All right, December 8th, we're coming up on our end of the year. And I know some of you guys that have been with me for a while are looking forward to what's going to happen soon, our year-end meeting. That's where we go over what happened during the year and we forecast what we're going to do next year. So that's always an exciting exercise to go through.
John, I always thought that exercise meant that we would know who to go blame.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like you need a mirror in front of you when that happens. It does reveal a lot of pain, though, which, it's good. They say no pain, no gain. If you don't accept the mistakes that you made or the mistakes that you didn't make, then there's no way to fix those. And, just the fact that maybe you didn't do something that might have been a mistake, because you got to make mistakes to move forward. There's just no way around it. There's, if you look at the mistakes I've made, I don't have near enough fingers and toes to count them. But if I hadn't have made them, I wouldn't be where I am. It's just that simple. So making mistakes is just part of life. It's part of the process. And I think the more mistakes you make, the better off you're going to be. It's just how fast are you going to make them? Don't stay in a mistake. If you've made a mistake, realize it and move on. There's no reason to ever stay there. But anyway, I want to get back to kind of a recap of what we did last week. For those of you that just started with us, I kind of went back to the basics. I went all the way back to day one, and we went through the freedom formula. And it's important to do that. If you didn't see that, or you missed part of it or whatever, I've got the replay up. You can go back, you can click on it and watch the full replay. What I did was I clipped the Q&A off the end. So it's basically about an hour. It's a really good hour to spend, though. If you didn't go through it, it's really, really cool going back through that freedom formula. It kind of locks in why we're doing what we're doing. Because marketing is, it's hard work. It's not easy. It's not something that's just going to fall in your lap in most cases. You're going to have to go through, and you're going to have to go through the pain of doing all that stuff. And, the ACT program, it's analysis, creation, and traffic. And it really needs to be done in that order. If you jump into creation, which we all love to do, everybody loves the creation part. They hate the analysis part. They don't want to go there. And if there's nothing else I can get through to you, is how important that analysis really is. It is going to make you or break you. I guarantee it. If you're not doing that, the only way that you're going to have success is purely by luck. And that is great. If you got lucky. And, I know Sue, Sue had a business that she was running, and she did tutoring, and she had everything right. It was perfect. And she'll tell you, it was like a dream job for her because everything worked, but it was by luck, and she argued that with me at first, but then she realized I was right, because when she moved, she changed gears and she tried to do a different business, and it didn't fall in place like that. That's what I meant. It's not that she wasn't doing things right. It wasn't that she wasn't working hard, all that stuff. That was all true, but it was luck that she got it all right. The thing is, luck is great. Live in the luck. If you get lucky, soak it up, because it may not happen again. The thing is, when you shift gears and you go into a new business, or all businesses shift, I'm telling you, times change and businesses shift. So if you don't know how the luck happened, if you don't know what went on there to make that happen, and you go and you try and shift, you're going to be in sad shape, because you can't reproduce luck. If you can build a business based on a solid foundation, a solid framework, you can shift gears anytime you want. You can improve it. You are in total control. Luck is great, but there's no control with it. It can end at any given point. And that's a bad spot to be in. If you go from lucky to unlucky and you don't know how to get out of the unlucky, that's a really bad spot to be in. So, isn't that right, Sue? You kind of went to the unlucky side. But the cool part was she happened to do that right at the time I was building the ACT program. So she learned that, and now she can go from one thing to the next because she knows what the luck was made up of, so she can recreate it. How would you like to just create your own luck? That's what this is all about. You can be lucky all day long and twice on Sunday. So, but I'm telling you, it is a system. It is a formula. There is a framework to it. And if you do it right, it works, and it works every time. But it starts with analysis. You have to know who you're marketing to. And the reason that you have to know, the reason that's so important is for two reasons. To know if you're doing the right thing. If you're marketing to the wrong person, remember we talked last week about segmentation. Every market has segments. I don't care what you're doing, there's going to be a bunch of different segments to that marketplace. And there's going to be segments that are not profitable. And if you're living in those segments, or you just say, hey, I want to take everybody, and you've got that 80-20. Remember we went through that 80-20 thing? The 80% can eat you alive. They can destroy your ability to grow your business. They can just suck the life out of you, and they can destroy your business, literally, if you're working with the wrong people. And that's what the analysis will reveal before you even get started. If you can sidestep that mistake, that's invaluable. So that the analysis, I'm telling you right now, I usually spend 50% of my time in analysis before I move to creation. The creation part is easy. And I know you don't think creating is easy, copywriting is not easy, all that stuff, creating videos, you're going to tell me it's not easy. But what I'm going to tell you is it is going to be easy if you have the analysis right. If you don't, it's impossible, because you're just living in chaos. You're just creating stuff, not knowing if you're creating the right thing, not knowing if it's going to work. Well, in most cases, it's not. So you're just wasting your time. You're spinning your wheels. So the segmentation, that's about profit. That's about identifying, are you on the right track? Are you building a business based around something that can work? Or are you building a business around something that's going to eat you alive? So you see how that could be important? Before you spend time and money and effort to build this business, build your dream business, it'd be nice to know if you had it on solid ground, or if you're building this thing on sand and the first wave is going to come up and wipe it out, right? So that segmentation is critical that you find that you are working with the right people. Once that piece is out of the way, you can move on, and now you can talk about avatar. And Sue loves the avatar process. That's the one that she just fell in love with. But you got to do that segmentation first. The avatar is such a cool process because you're now getting into the head of who you're going to be selling to. And the reason that this is important is you need to know what they want, but even more important than that, you need to know why they want it. If you're going to communicate with them, if you're going to create demand and desire for what you offer, you're going to need to know how to attach it to what they want, their true desires. And if you know why they want what they want, you can speak more effectively to connecting it to you. And it's very different. Different avatars are going to want different things, even if it's in the same niche. Like you could be selling the same product and you could have multiple avatars. You could have multiple profitable avatars. I'm not saying you have to throw everybody out the window and just focus on one segment. You might have 2 or 3 profitable segments. Each one is going to have at least one avatar. In some cases, a segment might have multiple avatars. Like I used real estate as an example. Your two big segments is buyers and sellers. So if you just cut it down the middle, you've got two segments. You have buyers and you have sellers. But I guarantee you haven't gone far enough, because those buyers, let's just talk about the buyer bucket for a second. If you talk the same script to all of your buyers, you're not going to be talking effectively to any of them, because you have a bunch of different types of buyers. You could have the single mom just looking to get by, right? She speaks a language. Things are going to be important to her, right? Not the same things that would be important to a bachelor buying a bachelor pad, right? If you talk about that, she's going to be turned off. If you talk about, basic accommodations to get a single mom with a roof over her head, the guy looking for the exotic bachelor pad, he's going to go like, this is not the right realtor for me. You're going to turn everybody off. And at the end of the day, you're going to have nobody that you can sell to. So you've got to segment. You have to break them up so you can speak the right language to the right people. So you can see your buyer group, you can have multiple different buyer groups. Those are different avatars. So don't think for a minute that you're going to just have one avatar in your business. An avatar is a representation of an ideal client. That's not to say that you can't have multiple ideal clients. You might have an ideal client that is a man, and you might also have an ideal client that's a woman. You wouldn't speak to them the same way, right? They have different wants, different needs, different desires, and they want them for different reasons. This kind of gets into some deeper psychology, right? Of what will make people, what will move people, what will drive them. And men and women are very different. We are cut from very different cloth as far as our deep motivating desires. What drives us? If you ask somebody like what they want and they tell you, it's probably going to be a superficial answer. And all you have to do is ask them, oh, that's interesting. Why do you want that? What's it going to do for you? Like, let's say if you were to ask a businessman, hey, what do you want? Oh, I want to make $1 million this year, right? That's a superficial answer. If you ask them, well, why $1 million? What's important about $1 million? What's that going to do for you? Why do you want it? They're going to give you a different answer. And when they do, say, well, why is that important? Why do you want that? What's that going to do for you? And you keep asking that until there's nothing left. And then you'll be to the core. That is the core driver. And, that's a very uncomfortable conversation to have with people if you don't know them, right? You can't just grab somebody off the street and start digging into, why they want something. They're going to think you're a freak, and they're going to, get a restraining order or something. But you get the idea, right? And a lot of these questions could be answered kind of intuitively just by yourself in many cases. In a lot of cases, we are our own avatar. Like if you've built something and you're selling something to somebody, you probably did it for yourself first, right? So you might have been the avatar. You might have had that problem, wanted that thing, had that desire, and you couldn't find it somewhere, so you created it yourself. You figured out how to solve the problem. Now you possess this skill set, and other people would want it. For you to do that, for you to ask those questions, you would ask them of yourself. The only thing is, you can't ask them of yourself now because you're not in the same state you were when you had the problem. So you've got to go back in time. You have to really think about, what was it like to walk in my shoes when I had this problem? That's how you're going to discover your avatar, who they are, what they want. You can't think about it from your perspective at this given point in time because you're not in those shoes anymore. So when you're doing this avatar research, that's where you have to get to. You have to get to them, where they are. What are they feeling? What are they seeing? What are they hearing? Are they hopeful? Have they lost hope? Have they tried everything that they thought of and it didn't work? You know, where are they? You got to get to that point. That's all part of the research. That workbook that I gave you guys, it's got, you know, umpteen amount of pages to fill in stuff about who this person is, you know, what language do they speak? What's their slang? You know, tons of different stuff. It might not all of it might apply to any given avatar, but it gives you a lot to work with. And it's by no means all inclusive. Your avatar might have stuff I didn't think of when I wrote that workbook up. That's okay. You put down everything that's important. And when you get to the bottom of the why, and I'm gonna break this down in total simplicity, and this is nothing derogatory toward men or women. This is just core human nature here. When you get to the bottom of the barrel and you've asked the person why they want that, what's important about that, and they run out of answers, if you're talking about a woman, in most cases, they're going to come up with, it's all about security. Women are very security based. And I'm not talking about every woman. There are some high functioning entrepreneurial women that are more like men. And there are some men that are more like women. So this isn't a blanket scenario, and I don't mean to talk down to anyone. That's not what this is about. I'm just talking about a core functionality difference between men and women. And this goes all the way back to the caveman age. You know, the men were the hunters. They went out, they provided. That was a significance thing. They were significant. They were celebrated. When they came back from war, when they came back from a hunt, they were celebrated. They got that significance, that recognition. And that's the thing. When you ask a man and you get to the end of his rope there of what he wants and why he wants it, most of the drivers for a man is significance. Most of the drivers for a woman is security. So, you know, the women, they were secure because those hunters provided for them. You know, I mean, this goes back to the beginning of time. This is nothing new. I didn't make it up, so don't blame me. I didn't create the system. I'm just pointing out how it works. And it's very much the same today. So understanding that, would you speak differently to a woman than you would to a man if you were trying to get them to want what you were offering? Absolutely. That's where your avatar is so important. You have to know who you're talking to. And in many cases, you're going to have more than one. A perfect example is the man and the woman. There's two right there. So when you find your segment of people, you're going to at least have two minimum, unless you're only working with women or you're only working with men. That's the only way you could really possibly break it down to one single avatar. But the whole idea of why the thing that you deliver, what you are selling is you got to figure out why that's important to them. The bigger the problem, the more money you can make, the more they will spend for what you're offering. And, you know, we talked about how to identify a profitable segment with the three pieces. The three pieces are: the market size has to be big enough to support your sales effort. If you're selling something that there's such a small marketplace for, and you can't really effectively reach them all to make enough sales, that's one pillar gone. You have to have all three of the pillars in place. So your marketplace has to be big enough. The people within that marketplace or within that segment, they have to have be able to realize the problem is big enough that they want to solve it. They want to pay to make it go away, or that, you know, and the problems could be in any shape or size. It doesn't have to be a physical problem. Like somebody asked me, their thing was they were selling luxury vacations, you know, and they're a travel agent. And they're like, well, my people don't have a problem. And I'm thinking, all right, well, you got me there, but oh, wait a minute. No, they do. They do have a problem. They're stressed out. You're talking about people that have a lot of money, right? They didn't get a lot of money by not working hard, not really being concentrated on what they do in most cases. So those people, they're probably stressed out. They probably want to support the lifestyle that they've created. So if they don't do that, if they don't take time off, if they don't go and unwind, they're going to burn out. And then they're going to lose that lifestyle. So they do have a problem. Your vacation, your downtime, the thing that you're offering solves a big problem for them. So it always equates back to a problem. It's just how you look at this thing. Whatever you do, I guarantee you can fit it into a problem that you solve somehow. You just have to get a little creative about how you think about this stuff. But that's the thing. And when you're creating demand and desire, you have to be able to communicate the problem. You have to communicate it even if they are not aware of it. When you're educating them and you're making them aware of something, you're showing them how it works. What you're doing is you're creating demand and desire for it. You're actually increasing their want for what you have. In the process of that, one thing that I love about that process of educating someone on their problem is along the way, I'm also educating them that I am the best solution. I'm the only solution. This is where you can set buying criteria. If you guys want something really good to give away to your prospects to get them to opt in, give them a buying guide. Say, look, when it comes time for you to make this purchase, here's the things that are important. When you go to shop for this, I want to make sure you get the right thing to solve your problem, even if it's not me. That right there creates massive trust and rapport with somebody. If you're not just jamming yourself down their throat, you're trying to help them solve a problem, whether it's you or someone else that's going to do it. You want to make sure their problem gets solved. You're here to serve, not to sell. You show up to sell, you're going to repel everybody you come in contact with. Guaranteed. They are not going to want to do business with you. You show up to serve, and they're going to appreciate you. They're going to want to do business with you. The big difference. Big difference. So the best thing that you could give away is that buying guide. Here's what you need to know. It doesn't matter what you're selling. It could be life insurance. It could be water machines, whatever. It doesn't matter. High-end vacations. You are the expert in this field. You're the one they're going to look to for advice. And what you can do, this puts you in a very unique position. You can set the buying criteria. And whenever I set buying criteria, I make sure that no one else is going to fit it except for me. You can eliminate your competitors this way. You can just take them out of existence. You can make them extinct with this one thing. So, I mean, what do you guys think about that? Is that's probably worth the price of admission right there?
I was just thinking, you made me remember that when I had my tutoring business, my school, I wrote a book called How to Find the Right Tutoring Program for Your Child, which all arrows pointed to me. So yeah. There was another lucky thing I did that I didn't even know.
Yeah, no, you got so lucky. You have no idea how lucky you got. You literally just fell into it, which is awesome. And I never say that's not possible because I see it all the time. The problem with the luck is if you didn't create it, at the time you didn't realize it. You didn't realize it was lucky. You just thought, oh, this is awesome. Business is great. Business is easy. But when the shift came and you had to redo it and you couldn't rely upon the luck, then how'd you feel? Not so good. So this is the cool part. You can literally create your luck. You can create that dream job and that dream atmosphere like Sue had anytime you want it. But you have to do the work. The beautiful part of this is I'm showing you what the work is. That's what takes the luck out of it, and it makes it skill. I would much rather depend on skill set than luck, right? Luck is great, but I'll take skill set any day over luck, because then I can create my own luck. So hopefully you guys are seeing how really important this analysis piece is. You know, the segmentation, the avatar creation. The reason that you're doing all of this is so when you get into the creation part and you're actually building your ad campaign, you're creating your, you know, your pieces to your funnel, you're going to know what to say. You're going to know how to say it. You're going to know when to say it. That is invaluable, because if you do this wrong, if you build a funnel, think about building a funnel. It's like, it's a sales presentation. No matter how you slice it, there's a sales presentation that's going to happen. You know, and it could be short. It could be a 2-minute thing, depending on what you're selling. If you're selling a low ticket item, and let's say it's just an entry thing that you have to get them to buy this so they can buy your next thing and your next thing and your next thing. It might just be a low dollar thing to get them in, to break that point of entry. And if that's the case, it doesn't have to be a long drawn out sales process. You could literally close that deal within a couple of minutes. You might even be able to close it on an elevator speech in 30 seconds, you know, because it's not a big commitment. You have to think about this as a commitment level. And for a low commitment level, there's not big decisions involved. You're not going to have to be dealing with overcoming a bunch of objections, because they're just, you know, the value proposition of what you're giving them compared to what they're spending on it, it's minimal. You know, the spend is minimal compared to what they're going to get out of it. So as you get bigger ticket items, your funnels have to be longer. They have to be more in depth. The more money that somebody is going to spend on something, the more convincing they need to get that value proposition in place. You know, the value always has to be, it has to exceed the price to be a no-brainer. If you want an irresistible offer, your value has to exceed the price that they're going to pay. Now, you can overdo that. I see some salespeople that create these, you know, these sales presentations, and at the end they're stacking up, you know, this is, you know, $50,000 worth of stuff, but you're going to get it for $199. Well, that just sets off bullshit meters all over the board, right? Nobody's going to give you 50 grand for $200, right? Not going to happen. That's a scam. So they're just setting off those warning lights. So I don't recommend doing that, but the value that you're giving has to exceed the cost. We'll leave it at that. You don't have to exceed it by $50,000. You got to go where it needs to go, not all the way to the crazy factor. So do you guys have questions? I know I've been rambling on. I'm talking about important stuff here, but if you guys have questions, if you're stuck on something and you need me to address it, feel free to, you know, raise your hand or interrupt me. You're perfectly fine to do that anytime. So,
my hand.
Linda, I see your hand.
I don't know if you covered this last week, John, but with the newer versions of Google and all the other things, and you may have covered this last week, and I'll just go and watch the video, but did you cover, or can you cover, looking at trends and looking at information and trying to get to the information that used to be available that's no longer available unless you paid service fee for it or created an account? Got
it. No, actually, we didn't cover that. And that's a great thing to cover, because we're right at that point. So last week was pretty much just an overview. We didn't get into the weeds on how to do the stuff, how to do the research and all that. As you go through the ACT program, you'll notice there's some pieces in there that are still relevant, but the interfaces have changed. Like one of the things to do, the third piece of your analysis, when you start in, first is going to be the segmentation part. That's first. The second piece is going to be your avatar creation. And the third piece is going to be your competitor analysis. A lot of times the competitor analysis, you can use tools for that. Like if you want to know what your people are searching for, like if they have a problem they're aware of and they're on Google and they're searching, you can use the Google AdWords tool to find out what they're searching for. And the way you get to that is you go to ads, that's ads.google.com. If you already have a Gmail account or a Google account in any way, shape, or form, this will already be in your back office in your Google account. You just have to activate it. What they do is they kind of walk you through the process. You can't just jump into the tool. When I showed the tool the first time and I did the original training on it, they had it just open. Anybody could just go in and use the keyword tool. They called it Keyword Planner. I think they call it something totally different now. But it's the same thing. It's a keyword research tool. And what you do, you put a seed word in. Like if you're selling water machines, you could literally put water machine in. And what it will do, it'll come back with all the different variations that people are searching based on a water machine. And it'll tell you how many people are searching for it per month. And it will also tell you how much the advertisers are paying per click to get someone to click on that keyword and go to their website.
Don, could you demonstrate that?
I don't have an account set up to go into right now. And it would basically, you go to the ads.google.com, and right now they're going to force you through the process. So they're going to ask a bunch of questions. And basically what they're doing your avatar research here. They're asking you questions so they can help you create an ad campaign. So if you've done your analysis, you're going to be much more ready to answer those questions. If you haven't, you'll be sitting there going, oh, I don't know how to answer that one. And then you're going to be stuck. So that, again, that's another reason why it's important to get the stuff and fill it into the workbook so you have the answers to all these. Another thing too, when you get to the creation part, a lot of people don't like to write copy. So you can hire a copywriter, and there's different levels of copywriters. There's everything from, a low dollar copywriter that's just getting started to a master copywriter that charges tens of thousands of dollars to write a sales letter. It doesn't matter what level of copywriter you hire. If you don't give them good information, they're not going to write good copy for you. It's garbage in, garbage out. That's another reason why when you're creating this, you're filling out the workbook, you're going to have all the information a good copywriter is going to need to write you spectacular copy. You're also going to have the same information for a mediocre copywriter to write you spectacular copy. So why pay a good one when you can just get a mediocre one and give them really good data? Save you a ton of money, and you're going to get a better product out of it. But anyway, so back to the keyword research. They tell you how many people search all these different keywords and how much the advertisers are willing to pay. The willing to pay part, that's important to pay attention to, because if advertisers are willing to pay a lot for a keyword, that is a really good indicator that people that are searching that keyword convert. They will buy a product. They've already figured that out for you. So you can rely on somebody else's spending the money to figure this out for you. That's a lot better way to go than you going in and buying keywords, not knowing if they're going to work or not. That's a real good spotlight on knowing which keywords convert. The more an advertiser is willing to pay, the more viable, commercially viable. That's what it's called. We call that commercially viable keywords. The other thing this can do is it can really open your eyes to things that you weren't aware of. you might not be aware of what your particular avatar is looking for. You know, like I can't tell you how many times I've put in a seed keyword and the stuff that comes up was not things I was thinking of. But it opened my eyes to the fact that, wow, I'm looking through their eyes now, not my eyes. When you're doing advertising, you can't look through your eyes. You have to look through the eyes of who you're trying to sell to. So that's a really good way to get an inside perspective of what they're thinking, because you can see what they're searching for. The other thing is Google has another tool called Trends. And you can basically go, the URL to it is trends.google.com. And this is a cool thing. I showed Linda this a week or so ago, and we put in one keyword, and then we got the results for what the trend was on that particular keyword. And then we went to Google itself. We put that keyword in Google. We scrolled down to the bottom of the page, and it has related keywords. People also searched for these keywords. We took one of those keywords and we put it into the trends to compare our initial. And we found that the one that Google recommended outperformed what we thought by, what was like threefold. So doing this research can really open your eyes to reality. It's one thing about what you think, but it's another thing to go by what you know. And Google is a massive source of information. They have collected data like you can't believe on everyone on the planet. So they have a massive amount of data. Their data pool is amazing. But those are a couple of the tools that they have freely available that you can use. Is their keyword research tool. Now, one thing about their keyword research tool today, you have to actually sign up for the ads account. You have to put a credit card in as though you're going to purchase ads to get access to the keyword tool. You don't have to pay for the ads. You don't ever have to activate the campaign. In fact, this is one thing I want to caution you of. They're kind of tricky with this, because when they're going through that initial process, asking you those questions, they're asking you as though you're going to set up an actual ad campaign, a Google pay-per-click campaign. You have to do that before they open the door and let you use the keyword research tool. Once you do that, basically you have an ad ready to go. You actually have the ad copy in place, the headline, the URL, all that stuff is all in place for them to be able to run an ad for you. Now you've got the keyword grouping that you want to run the ad to. So they are like ready to go live. So you have to make sure that you pause that campaign or they're going to start spending your money. And you might not want them to do that yet. You might just be in there wanting to use their research tool. So be sure that when you leave that window, that campaign is paused. If they're running ads, that's not refundable. So I've had a couple of people that I told that to, and they ignored the warning, and they went ahead and they lit up an ad campaign, and a month later, here they're getting a bill. Their credit card has been charged for X amount of dollars. And they're like, how do I undo this? And I'm like, you don't. You paid for ads. You caused that. So I just want to warn you, be very careful when you do that you pause that ad campaign. Just use the keyword tool, but don't activate the campaign unless you really want to spend the money to run those ads. You might not have your landing page. In a lot of cases, when we're doing analysis, we're not ready to run an ad. We might know the headline, we might know, the key phrase to get them to come, all that, but we might not have our funnel together yet. We might not have our landing page dialed in yet. We don't want to spend money running ads until that is ready to go. We want our ads to be effective, not expensive. If you're running an ad that's not going to convert or the pieces aren't in place, I guarantee you it's going to be expensive because it's not going to work. Going to be money wasted. So anyway, you can also use Google itself without even using any of their tools. You can just go to google.com. You can start typing in a keyword. And as you do that, you'll notice there'll be a drop-down box that pops down and it starts giving you related recommended terms. That's based on other people. That's based on previous search of other people. So that is like, you're literally looking into the back end of Google, their data. They've data mined massive amounts of information over the years. When you find a keyword that you actually want to run, and this is part of the competitor analysis, you want to know who you're competing against. You want to know how they're communicating with those avatars. Because in a lot of cases, you can learn from your competitors. You don't have to create the wheel. You're going to take a wheel that's already been created and you're just going to make it better. Put more padding on your wheel. Don't try and create it from the start because it's already been created. Those competitors have already gone through the pain that you're going to be able to step right over the top of. You'll be able to see what they've done. There's other tools too that will give you competitive analysis on like what ads they've run, how long they've run their ads. One of the tools is called SpyFu, and it's a paid tool, so you have to pay for access to it, but you can pay for like 1 month. You can just pay for 1 month, use the tool, get the information, and then cancel that subscription.
How do you spell that, John?
It's SPY, like a spy, and then FU, FU. I don't know if there's any correlation, but it's SpyFu.com. So, but that's literally what it does. It's like, hey, I don't care about you. I'm getting your data. I'm spying on you. So SpyFu. And it'll tell you what all the ads are. It'll tell you how long they've been running. That's a really good indicator if somebody's been running an ad for a long time that it's working. Now, if they're running an ad and they're only running it for a day or a couple of days or 3 days and they stop it, that's also a good indicator that, hey, they stopped it for a reason. I don't want to do that. I want the one that they've been running for 6 months nonstop and their budget keeps going up. So, and then what you do, once you find a campaign that's really kicking butt for them, go opt in for it. Go get their free lead magnet. See their process. Look at every email they send you. Put it in a file. That's a swipe file. You can just take their copy and make it your own. You don't have to write copy from scratch. I can almost guarantee you, none of us are doing anything new. Everything out there is already been done before. The wheel is created. You can go and you can piggyback off of what is already working. And, tools like this will give you a good indication of in your market, who are your competitors, and you want to know what they're doing. A lot of the really high-end marketers, they'll tell you this is what they do. They don't create stuff from scratch. What they'll do is they'll take something good and they'll just make it better. And, if you've got something better than the already good, what's somebody going to want to buy? They're going to want to buy the better, right? So you've just put yourself leaps and bounds ahead of all the competitors by doing that. And generally, there's 2 ways to be better. You can either have a better product or you can have a better marketing. And in my opinion, it's the marketing that's going to make your sales better, not the better product. You can have the best product in the world. If you don't have the marketing to match it, nobody's going to buy it. If you can't communicate the value, if you can't attach what you got to what they want, you're not going to be the one that makes the sale. It could be the lesser product could be outselling you. You know, that goes back to Benjamin Franklin. You know, I told the story last week about how he had figured out how to reverse any objection. That formula that he used, the claim proof benefit formula, that is what put him in the Marketers Hall of Fame. His wood burning stove that he used that claim proof benefit formula on, he admitted that his product was the worst on the market of his. I think he had 2 or 3 competitors that were far superior to his product, yet he outsold them like they weren't even there because of his marketing. Because he could eliminate the main objective or the main objection in that product, and his other competitors couldn't. They weren't addressing the objection. So if you have a market, a mass market of people that want, and what he was selling was a wood burning stove, right? Back in those times, that was a big thing. People needed stoves in their homes. And he was trying to sell a wood burning stove. And there was objections about that, about having a fire inside your house. So he made the claim, he followed it up with the proof and attached it to the benefit of not only cooking your food, it warms your house at the same time. So something his competitors weren't doing. They were ignoring the objection of, I think it was, I don't know if they used this term, but basically having carbon monoxide poisoning in your house from having a fire inside your house. That was the big thing that kept people from purchasing that product. So that's a perfect example of good marketing outselling better products. You do not have to have the best product on the market. It helps. I'm not telling you to, build garbage and try and sell it to people. That's not my point here. It's just, if you've got a good product, don't be afraid of someone having a better one. If you know your product is good and you believe in it, you should be selling it. You should be selling it hard, and you can outsell the competitors. You can outsell them like they're not even there, just like Benjamin Franklin did. It's amazing the stuff that is in ad agencies, the formulas that they use. It's almost timeless. Like that claim proof benefit formula, that's still being used today in ad agencies. It hasn't changed one bit. It's still make a claim contrary to the current belief, back it up with proof. What that does, it changes it from a claim to a fact. Most people don't argue facts. They get behind facts. So now you've just reversed the belief. Now the belief is in favor of purchasing your product instead of against it. And then you reattach that. Now that you've got them moving in the right direction, you reattach it to the benefit, the desired outcome. And you've got a winner. That is a winning formula in advertising. It has been for 300 years. And it hasn't changed. So the big idea formula, that has been used in ad agencies as far back as you can go. It wasn't really discovered until in the 1950s. David Ogilvy brought it out and shined a light on it. And the big idea formula, I think I mentioned this last week, it's the thing that we use in the creation process to grab attention. It's the first thing. It's almost like creating your headline. The first thing that your prospect is going to see should be your big idea. And the big idea, it's a thing. They just call it a big idea. It's not just like it's an idea that's large in size, right? It's a name for a process. And David Ogilvy put the name on it. In the 50s, he was interviewed and they asked him, they said, how is it that every ad campaign you touch turns to gold? What is it? What's your magic? What's making that happen? And he equated it to the big idea. He said, any campaign without a big idea is going to pass like a ship in the night. meaning it won't be seen. Well, that's the last thing that you want for your ad campaign, to not be seen, right? You're paying to put it in front of people. You want it to be seen. It's the only way it's going to work. So he coined that phrase, big idea, in the 1950s. And I watched how he did that. And I watched in ad agencies. I spent a lot of time in the boardroom of ad agencies in my previous career, where I was a commercial photographer. I did special effects. So I got to sit in the boardroom while they cooked up these ad campaigns. And it was my job to put their ideas on film. So I got to watch them do this process over and over and over for almost a decade. And they did it the same every time. So everything I'm teaching you guys in the ACT program, I didn't create it. I observed it, I learned from it, and what I did create was I pulled all the recipes out, like the claim proof benefit. That was the way Benjamin Franklin reversed objections, and it was followed up to this day. It's still being done, but nobody broke it down and gave you the formula for how to do it. That's where I come in. That's where the ACT program comes in. All the things that they do in the ad agencies, I've nitty gritty broken them down into pieces so you could recreate them. I took the luck out of it. We took it from luck to a recipe that you can bake that cake any day you want to eat it, right? And it'll come out the same every time. So, with David Ogilvy, that's where that whole big idea process came from. And I broke it down. I broke down the formula. There's 3 pieces to it. You have to make a promise. What's the promise? The promise has to be based on their desired outcome. Where does that come from? Your analysis. So if you haven't done the analysis, you can't effectively make a big idea. It's the first step in creation. So if you move into creation before you've done your analysis, you're going to struggle, probably fail. That's why it's so important. Am I just like overkill on the importance of analysis? I can point out every piece of the way how important analysis is. I cannot stress it enough. Yet so many people glaze over it. If you want to create a marketing campaign that works, if you want to get good at this game, here's something I've been telling people for years. Marketing makes sales irrelevant. If you do good marketing, sales are just going to come from it, right? That's my claim. What's my proof? When was the last time you saw a salesperson in McDonald's? They don't exist. They don't need salespeople. All they need is order takers, because the marketing sold the product. People are just there to place their order, right? That's good marketing. You know what you want when you go in. Now, they continue that marketing through their sales process, even though they don't have salespeople. They have order takers. So what am I talking about there? Would you like fries with that? That's an upsell. Would you like to supersize that? Sure, who wants to go small, right? It's magnificent marketing. It's absolutely magnificent. Like almost every guy on the planet, remember, what's their core value? Significance, right? Core value. They want to go big. They're not going to go small. They're not going to say, no, can I have the small size? No, it's not going to happen. They're like, hell yeah, supersize me. I'm the king. Right? It's working to their favor. They're using nature. They're using nature as a leverage bar to get more money out of you. Now, a woman, why would she supersize it? More is better. We're talking about food. It's a comfort thing. It's a safety thing. You don't have food, you're not on safe ground. That's why she would supersize it, right? And it's totally contrary to, the vanity thing. They don't want to gain weight. They want to look good, right? Why in the hell are you supersizing your meal? It's back to the core value of security. The reasons that we do things are incredibly interesting. Most people don't think about them. That's the difference between me. I want to know why everything works. I want to know why. Not just what. I see what. I want to know why. So I just ask the questions, why would a woman supersize that? Goes back to that core value, safety. Why would a man supersize it? Significance. Right? And where do you think they figured that out? They did their analysis. That sales process came out of their analysis. Do you think McDonald's got where they were just jumping into creation? Nope. They did a lot of analysis to get as good as they got at selling garbage food, right? There's nothing good about McDonald's. Sorry. Yet they sell billions of dollars worth of it. There is way better food choices, right? Back to Benjamin Franklin. He outsold his competitors like they weren't even there. Telling you, marketing will make the difference. It's the most powerful skill set you're ever going to possess. And you can learn it. It's not something that's mystical and magical and, only the Wizard of Oz owns it. Everything you need to know, I've broken down in pieces for you so you can understand it and use it. But if you don't do them in order, you're going to struggle. That I can guarantee you. I've never seen anybody do it outside of the order that didn't struggle with it. So I think I have just beaten that horse to death. If I haven't, I'm happy to beat it up some more because you guys really need to get it. And you need to get how important marketing truly is. Marketing is going to make you or break you. There's sales and marketing. Sales is all sales is, it's delivering a presentation and closing a deal, right? If you don't create the marketing for the salesperson and they're not a good intuitive salesperson, a good intuitive salesperson can sell anything. You don't need to give them squat. They just show up on your door and they're going to sell your shit like it's going out of style because they know how to do it, right? But if you don't, if you're not lucky, you didn't find that person to sell your stuff for you, right? You get lucky, just enjoy it, bask in the sunshine of luck all day. But if you didn't, and you need to create this and you need to be dependent or independent and, be able to be in control of your own destiny, the marketing is what's going to do that. Because the sales, like I said, it's delivering a presentation and closing a deal. McDonald's, how many salespeople do they need to close the deal? They just need an order taker to take the order. And then they need their food processors to deliver on it. That's their manufacturing process. That's their product. They got their product figured out. Without the marketing, they're not going to sell it. Without a good salesperson, they're not going to sell it. So that skill set of how to sell something, how to figure out how to create demand and desire, eliminate objections, and make your offer, that's the marketing. Those are the tools that you can give to a mediocre salesperson, and they can do a spectacular job for you because they're not trying to figure out how to sell it. They're just reading a script. That script was masterminded by the marketer. So if you want to spend time creating a skill set or honing a skill set, focus on marketing. It'll be the best time you ever spent. You'll get the most value out of it, and it'll last you a lifetime. I don't care what you do for the rest of your life, you will take that skill set from one thing to the next, and you won't fail. Doesn't matter what the markets do, doesn't matter if the economy crashes. You know, people, so many times people blame the economy for stuff. They blame the economy for bad business or this or that or the other. The fact was, things changed and they didn't change with it. Now they're suffering the consequences because they didn't move. All a bad economy does is it shifts people's focus. It changes their problems. If you want to make a lot of money in business, you solve problems. Identify what the new problem is, create a marketing campaign around it, solve the problem. You will make plenty of money. I don't care how bad the economy is. I don't care what's going on in the world. People are going to have problems and they're going to spend money to solve them. And if you know how to do that, if you know how to look at their desired outcome, figure out what their problem is, communicate the value of what you're offering, you will do well in any market. That's for you women, that's security. That is the most secure blanket I could wrap around you, is that right there. You'll never be hungry. Your kids will never go without a roof over their head if you get that. So, and men, you want to be significant? You want to be the one that's kicking ass when the rest of the world is falling apart? That's how you do that too. Solves both sides of the coin. Doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. Marketing is going to make you a superhero. It'll make you invincible. Understanding the world's problems, understanding people, what they're going through. You can create products on the fly to do that. So, Morgan, you had a question?
I do, yes. So when you're talking about like trying to address people's problems and then
We lost your audio there. It was going at first and then it stopped. Not yet.
Oh, you can't hear me. Okay.
Now we can.
Oh, okay.
It just popped back in.
So you were talking about like addressing people's needs and everything, and like during that time, and like the economy is always shifting. It's going up and down, and then like people's trends, like people's wants and desires kind of change too.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're creating like your content calendar, should you be changing it to make sure you're matching the trends during that time? Or is it okay to also be focusing on optimizing for when it's that busy time, months?
If you can see the road ahead, you absolutely build for it.
Okay.
If you can't see, like there's going to be stuff that happens in the world and in the economy that we don't foresee. That's when you have to be very nimble. And as small business owners, we can be very nimble. You know, a big company, they've got to go through a lot of stuff before they can change their business model. But you and I, we can shift on a dime. So we can take advantage of that. And that Google Trends program, it can show you, a lot of times it'll see the trend before you will. And there's generic trends. If you just open it up, you'll see what's trending in the world, just in general. And you might say, oh my God, I could solve that. I could create this. I could create an ebook. I could create a course that I could sell to solve the problem of this. So the more nimble you are, like for me, it has no appeal to me to fill up a year's calendar because I don't know what's going to happen, a year from now, let alone, 2 weeks from now. I want to have my schedule, my freedom, be able to do whatever I want to do, and knowing that it won't take me any time at all to adjust and take advantage of something that's right around the corner. So for me, it's not about like filling up my time. For me, it's about having the right goggles on, looking and seeing what opportunities I want to take advantage of.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guarantee you there's always stuff that's going to come up that if you're ready for it and you're prepared and you've got the skill set to know how to market, it's so easy. You can create digital products these days that is so easy to create. Like everything that you do, most of you guys have a skill set that you do that solves somebody's problem. It's knowledge. You're basically selling knowledge. And it's so easy these days to create knowledge products and sell them. There's no cost almost to it. It's just a little bit of your time to create it, record it, put it together in a membership site. And now you have a product that's ready to go to market. Incredibly profitable. You know, it's not like manufacturing where if you sell 100,000 units, you have to gear up a facility to fulfill that. You got to spend a bunch of money in inventory and all that. There's so many opportunities for home-based business and, you know, single business people to make an untold amount of money. So there's no lack of opportunity. If you don't see opportunity, then either you're not looking or you're in a coma. That's the only way you're not going to see opportunity. So you really just need to start looking. There's opportunity everywhere. This is a conversation I've had several times along, you know, over the last 10 years with people. Is I have opportunities come my way every day, like tenfold. There's not a day goes by that I don't see at least 10 opportunities drop at my feet. Knowing how to look at them, most of them aren't good opportunities for me. So I don't spend my time unless they match some criteria. And for me, one of the criteria is it's got to be easy and fast to implement. It's got to have little to no upfront costs. Like I'm not going to go put a factory in place to fulfill, you know, products to serve some little niche. That's not happening. I have so many people want me to invest in stuff or be partners with them and all this stuff. And I look at the opportunity the same every time. I put on my ACT goggles and I say, okay, did they do their segmentation? Did they figure out who their avatar was? Did they do all this stuff? And in most cases, they haven't. So for me, it's an easy no. It's an easy no to most opportunities. And like I said, of 10 opportunities a day, I might go weeks, months, even years before I pick up an opportunity. Not to say they're not all around. If I were in a different situation, if I weren't financially set, if I didn't have, 50 sources of income coming in from opportunities that I've put in place over the years, I'd be different. I might not be so picky. I might say, oh yeah, there's something I could put some effort into and I could make a little bit of money, over a long period of time, which I have done that in the past. That's why I am where I am now, because I've got 50 different opportunities that I got into over my lifetime that are still paying me, residual income opportunities, not necessarily from network marketing or MLM products. I was never big on that stuff. For some reason, that just didn't fit my personality. But I'm talking about, like relationships where I make referrals to products that people actually need. Not to say MLM isn't that, right? But I'm talking about like in a business perspective. Like, for instance, I'll use Kartra as a perfect example. Kartra is a software program that will automate marketing campaigns. So when somebody gets to the point where they've done their analysis, they've done their creation, and now they need a vehicle to automate it and automate the delivery of it, I say, if I were you, I would use Kartra. I would recommend Kartra to do that. Now they get a Kartra account, their business runs on it, it's profitable, they're never going to leave Kartra. I get a $40 a month commission off that forever. As long as they were running that business, I'm going to get that $40. So, if you have, all I have to do is help 1,000 business owners automate a marketing campaign, and that's $40,000 a month for me forever. As long as those businesses are running, all I have to do is just check in, support them, maintain them, make sure they stay in business. It's 40 grand a month. Right? So I'm not actively looking for opportunities because I don't need them. And that's just one. I've got probably 40 or 50 different things that I recommend only to people that need them and at the time that they do need them. I'm not one that, makes a bunch of affiliate offers just to make money. I only do it when it's the right time for that person to help them. But that said, I've got all these things that are just flowing money in. So I'm very picky now about what looks like an opportunity to me. But there's opportunities everywhere. It's just, I'll look at how much effort am I going to put in? How much am I going to get out? How long is it going to last? I want something I can put a small amount of effort into and it'll last a long time. And it's easy. So like with Kartra, what I did, I recognized the problem. Kartra is a great product, but they don't have, and they have, here's one thing, they have great support videos. They have great how-to videos, but where they dropped the ball was they don't have a video that shows you how to implement Kartra into your business. Like they'll show you how each piece of it works. They have great tutorial videos, but they don't take a business owner and say, here's how you use this whole system in your business, A to Z. And so recognizing that, I saw that as an opportunity. So I created a 2-day Kartra workshop of, hey, if you purchase Kartra, I'll give you this 2-day workshop, or you can buy it. A lot of people bought the 2-day workshop and then they wound up buying Kartra. So I can do it either way. I can say, hey, if you buy Kartra through my affiliate link, I'll give you the workshop, or come to the workshop and learn how Kartra is the best solution for your business. And then you can buy it and go back and use the video to implement it and build a phenomenal business for yourself. So that's an opportunity that I saw. It was a flaw that was in the Kartra system. They didn't do that marketing piece, so I did it for them. And it's mine, it's my lead magnet, and it's done really well for me. So lots of opportunities, everywhere you look. So anybody that says there's no opportunities, I'm like, let's get in the car and take a drive. I'll point them out all the way down every street you can drive me down.
Speaking of opportunities, John.
Yep.
I was doing a thing with these people, one meetup group I have with internet marketers. And I want to put together a thing because the one guy did from that group sign up for the ACT program with someone who had a one-on-one with me.
Okay.
And I'm finding more and more as I talk to these people in this group and I get engagements with them, they need the ACT program. They're clueless.
Who doesn't?
I know. But it's like, rather than sit here and keep trying to run the meetup to get them to show up, I want to do something to just, do you have a webinar set up onto it that I can just put a whole thing to send them all to it?
Yeah, or we can do one. You and I can get on and do one and just, pose it as a little mastermind thing. We'll go through, and then at the end, we'll offer the ACT program, which is everything that we just covered here. It's all the recipes behind it.
Yeah. Would you be willing to do that on one of my virtual events so I have the recording to use?
Yeah, okay. That's no problem. Just schedule it and we'll do it.
Sure. Yeah, because I'm seeing the need over there. And again, like I'm always about getting people to what they need when they come to me, not necessarily always going for my sale.
Yeah, they'll always come back to you if you do it that way.
Well, I know. Right, Linda? So, I mean, I love Linda. She was great. She came to me when she needed help, and she's like, well, and I'm like, I'm not mad at Linda. I said, Linda, you got the help. Most of the stuff I can offer you, Linda, you get from John. What do you need me for? But I helped you when you needed you. I'm pretty sure if I asked Linda for a reference or for a referral, or for a testimony, she'd give it to me.
You can have that anytime you want, Tim.
So, but anyway, but that's a way that I've seen it. I've got a group of 1,400 people, and every time I talk to them one-on-one, that's where I need to lean them over to the ACT program before because they're about to dump 10 grand on something that's not going to work.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we run it through the ACT program. Oh,
You mean like high level or
10
something?
grand and make them 100.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. I will text you and we'll work a schedule out.
I'm thinking about redoing my my challenge, or it's not a challenge, it's kind of a game. Using the ACT program, the first person that can put a funnel together and make $100,000 with the funnel will get the $100,000 gold bar. Thinking about doing that again. I found another gold bar and have acquired it. So I've already given 2 of those away since the beginning of the ACT program. So we have some competitors here that might be able to claim it. So that'll be a fun game.
Yeah.
But, anyway, anything else? Anything else you guys want me to hit on before we roll off? All right. Well, you guys have a great week. I don't know if we'll do it. We probably won't do it next week. We'll probably do it the week after. We'll do the year-end thing where we go through and we'll cause some pain, but it'll be good for the following year. So we'll dig that nasty old worksheet out and go through it again.
Are you going to do a call on the 29th, which is the week between Christmas and New Year's?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't fall on the holiday.
That's what I was like planning my weeks out and realized everything I got Wednesday, Thursdays. I'm like, doesn't affect it by the holidays. I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. If it falls like on a holiday, I just know nobody's going to show up for that. Why would I want to pull them away from their family? You know, they can have me anytime. They, spend time with the family. So, all right, guys.
I got your text. Apparently you mixed up my address, but at least it's back. So okay.
Yeah, I think I got you straightened out in my system now. So
that was my bad. I should have talked to you because you were all my old stuff was in my post office box at UPS.
Yeah.
And I canceled that when I moved up here. And I didn't pay the whatever $100 or some odd dollars to forward that UPS one. And I'm like, screw that. I'll just tell everybody where I moved.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, anyway, it came back, which reminded me. And then I remember I had updated your info after I had sent it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Hey, I got money coming in, John. It's not like, I'm dying without that check. So when it gets here, it's just more money in the bank. That's all.
Well, it went out yesterday, so you should get it anytime. All right.
Good call. Last 2 weeks, this has been good. All right. So
good stuff. Yeah, we got new alignable members in here now, so they're eating it up. Good stuff. All right, guys. Well, have a great week, and we will be back on with you next week. I'll be on the boat because I'll be in the middle of the Christmas parade. But I have Starlink, so no reason for me to go dark. I know. At least I don't have any boat reasons to make me go dark.
Okay.
All right. Well, have a great week. We will talk to you next week.